Welcome to Malcolm Berman and Conversations with Deborah, a bi-coastal what? Bi-coastal
Conversations,
dialogue
dialogues.
with my
Absolutely.
co-host Deborah Manning in beautiful South Carolina.
Greenville, South Carolina, to be
Green,
specific.
Greenville,
It
South
is.
Carolina.
It's Tuesday, December the 28th, and whether you don't know, whether you know it or not, I'm a California native, but moved back here about 5 years ago to South Carolina for a whole variety of reasons, and I couldn't be any more delighted. I have found nirvana. It's absolutely wonderful, and I do have to compliment you. Now, I have a little bit of a library that you can see back here. This library consists of a hand-me-down credenza that actually used to be, I think, an old meat cutter's credenza. And I have all hand-me-down books that we got for $1 at our Greenville County Library. But Malcolm, I'm very impressed.
You
Look
should be.
behind you. Look at those books.
I've read every one of those books. In fact, twice.
Yes, the old Bridge from Brooklyn, eh?
Do you believe that one?
Yeah, right.
Well, this is, of course, my home library.
Of course, naturally.
Yeah, we'll go into that at a later date. But you're talking about furniture. I remember when I was a kid in Brooklyn, and my mother had 2 brothers and 3 sisters, and we never threw out furniture. I used to call it the Jewish conservation of furniture.
I like it.
Because one sister or brother would talk, oh, we're getting rid of the end table. Oh, we're getting rid of this, or we're getting rid of that. Could you use, oh yeah, we're going to redecorate.
There you go.
And we redecorated from 7 different homes.
There you go.
And as I told you earlier, I had an aunt that was into antiquing.
Yes.
So whatever it was, she'd paint it white and then do a gold touch to it.
And I tell you, that is very in right now. Very, very in. So it would be right in with the swing of things with everyone.
If I could resurrect her now, I'd probably do it.
That's right. Well, all of our furniture was loaded 5 years ago onto a 16-foot Penske truck as we left my native California. And my new husband and I, my husband's name is Fish. He is an artist. Fishfootage.com is where you can see his art. And
this is a non-commercial show. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
We have to bleep that out.
Okay.
Just kidding. We'll say it again.
If it's Fish Footage, like fish, FISH, footage, FOOTAG at .com. So it's
okay.
.com. And he does urban abstract art. So at any rate, his name is Michael Fisher, but his nickname has always been Fish. I actually get a chance to call him Fish. But getting back to your furniture, every bit of our furniture here, because he was a handyman until he retired, all of it, it comes from discards from some very elite places, like in Montecito, Santa Barbara, that's where we moved from back 5 years ago. And once again, we loaded up all of the furniture and gave away half of it, but took all the important stuff with us. And then came across the country with 2 cats. I was in the lead car, which was a little Honda Element with 2 cats. And he was following me with a 16-foot Penske truck. And we landed here on a house we had never seen before, except on Zoom, and in a city we have never been. However, I'd done extensive research on it, thank heavens for the internet. And we couldn't be any happier. We're in a 1948 little bungalow house. It's nothing fancy, but we're in a working class neighborhood. So it gives you a good feeling about normal everyday people that are not Californians, and very opinionated here, which is fine, but very genuine. They are not full of themselves whatsoever. They can't afford to be full of themselves.
Well, if you want opinionated people, I'm originally from Brooklyn.
There you go.
And then I lived most of my adult life before moving to California. I lived in Manhattan. Talk about opinionated people.
Well, I'll tell you, I loved New York. I can't, and it was funny because we were planning before COVID hit to do a big vacation in New York City because it's one of my favorite cities, along with Hong Kong, where I spent quite a bit of time with my late husband. And New York was a marvelous place. It's totally different now. Would you go back to New York City? Would you even do a vacation in New York these days?
Well, not these days, but once
Yeah,
this COVID-19 is over, and hopefully it'll be like in 6-7 months where everybody will be vaccinated. It still won't
yeah.
be over, but it'd be fairly safe. I'd move back to New York, but for the first thing I want to do is sell this website at least for $10-50 million. I mean,
At least.
millions of people are listening to us. Then we're able to move back. See, I look at Manhattan from the eyes of a 30-year-old single man.
Yes,
That was great.
yes.
I mean, you go out after work, have a few drinks, take a cab home, didn't have to worry about transportation.
Yep. It was a whole different feel for especially, I got a chance to visit quite extensively in New York City. We were doing quite a bit of work back there and with my late husband. And it was a beautiful city and
Yeah,
it's famous to what's happened. And the other thing that's a shame that's what's happening, and it really does concern me, especially with you and your family, Malcolm, this complete shutdown, thanks to Governor Newsom of California because of COVID. We're open here in South Carolina. Now, you have to wear a mask and you have to socially distance and what have you. But on a per capita basis, we have far fewer cases per person, per 1,000 million than you folks have. And you guys are totally locked down and yet we're open. I don't understand what's going on. Are people not wearing masks in California?
right.
Social distancing?
I could see doing it the way you do it.
Yeah.
If people would wear masks and keep social distance, and they don't. I don't know.
But if you yourself do that, does that not protect you? Or has Fauci changed his mind again about masks and saying that masks are no good?
No, because
Whatever.
I don't have the N95, whatever it is.
Yeah,
So I am not sure because of the COVID virus is supposed to be so minute, small. So
sure.
I don't know whether it goes through my mask and the filters. Because again, it's not a doctor. Yeah, everybody's selling masks on the corner.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I'm not sure
absolutely.
whether my mask does it or not. And I'm not sure most of the time when I expose myself to public, I'm running around the park or walking around the park.
Sure. I think the one thing that also concerns me is the fact that we're not getting true information. The news media, I don't know what's going on with the news media. Of course, you and I've had long discussions, especially in light of the election and the Russia gate and all of the craziness that was going on in the past 4 years. I don't understand why the news media can't seem to get the facts and can't seem to, well, follow the science, I guess. I don't even know if the science knows what the science is supposed to say. Because if you don't know, in fact, I remember there were times where we were told not to wear masks. In
I
fact,
don't.
in
I
January,
never remember that time. You had
yeah, in January the 24th, Dr. Fauci said, and I keep meticulous notes being the former news reporter that I am. And I went back through it to see exactly what the timeline was. And on the 24th, he was still saying it was not communicable between human beings.
But
And
that was a
after,
year. That was a year ago, almost a year ago, 11
but
months.
interestingly enough, they didn't talk about masks until sometime in March, almost first part of April.
Okay, well, they have it now where it really has spread. The thing is, like, which I don't see why people don't connect the dots.
Mhm.
When do we get the surges? We get the surges when people travel after the holidays because they're having parties and they're not keeping social distances and they're not wearing masks. Then we get the surges. Or you
Well,
go to
our other issue is now that the vaccine is coming out, there seems to be some indication that people that are not in the vulnerable group, that would be people 65 and older, that would be unfortunately our group, we're not getting the vaccines. In fact, some of the healthcare workers are not getting the vaccines, but other people in their 30s and 40s are getting the vaccines first. And I scratch my head. What is this all about? Can we take the politics out of this?
n-
I
they-
really was offended seeing AOC, a Congresswoman AOC, get a vaccine after she said that it was not to be trusted. And here she is getting a
well,
vaccine.
they're
It's the
they're
same thing.
also. I mean, of course, you point out a left-wing politician, but there are also right-wing politicians that are getting vaccines.
And I think that's wrong.
As,
I
as
don't
a
think
matter
it's
of
right.
fact, I don't know how true it is, but supposedly there was a shipment of vaccine that was sent to New York that was not hijacked, but bought by the Hasidic Jews to do. Again, it's the same thing. It's the privilege of the rich. The privilege
That
of
really
the
is, that really does concern me. And I think at
and,
this point right now, I think the Republicans have had a very tough lesson, and a very tough lesson that has now been learned. Um, I know here in South Carolina, there is a growing unrest and a growing anger on this, on what happened in November and continues to happen. Um, I think that the Republicans are going to take some lessons from the Democrats and to do exactly what the Democrats did.
which is
I think the ballot harvesting situation is something that needs to be done. So if that's the way you need to run an election, then ballot harvest away. Um, if you need to do mail-in ballots, you need to make sure that a lot of those mail-in ballots get into Republican hands, and that the Republicans need to go into nursing homes and sign up all of those nursing home people, as apparently a number of the Democrats did. Um, I think that it's been a hard lesson. I think that the Republicans and the conservatives have been much too polite. And at this point right now, I know, just talking to people here in South Carolina, not that I'm an expert particularly, but they do talk to me because I'm from California and they want to know my opinion on things. But I do think that many of the South Carolinians and many conservatives at this point right now said, all gloves are off, all politeness is off. This needs to be taken care of, and people will take care of it. And
okay. How do we take care of it?
well, I think that what you're seeing right now, there's a movement where you are getting millions of telephone calls to our representatives. For example, to Lindsey Graham, to Tim Scott, to our representative in the House, William Timmons. And people are flooding, at least here in South Carolina, are flooding those telephone lines. And they're becoming rather angry, and they're becoming, I think you're going to see a lot of civil disobedience at this point. Um, if that can be done as a result of anger, then civil disobedience there will be. I know there are a number of marches that are going to be planned here in Greenville, and they're going to be conservative marches. You're already starting to see it in Georgia and some other places. So I think along those lines, and then pressuring our representatives. I mean, I have to tell you, I am astounded that the Republicans are not approving a $2,000 stimulus check and are sticking to their guns at $600. I mean, we're already into this, for crying out loud. People are hurting. And Speaker Nancy Pelosi has already admitted the fact that she withheld the stimulus on several occasions for several months because she did not want Donald Trump to get a quote unquote a win. But the problem is that she penalized the American people and the American public. So there's a lot of pent up anger. And I do believe at this point right now that you will start to see Republicans and conservatives starting to utilize the exact same tactics as the Democrats. So
Do you believe in an armed revolution?
I beg your pardon?
Do you think there will be an armed revolution, a civil
I think
war?
no. I think what will happen, it will be exactly the same medicine that the Democrats gave the rest of the country. So I think that's what you will end up seeing. It will be exactly the same answer on a conservative side that we saw this summer on the liberal side. So I think what you're going to see.
So there wasn't any civil unrest with as far as the election results. The Democrats did a lot of poking and having the Mueller investigation. And by the way, I keep on, when you hear people say, oh yeah, there was no Russian thing, there was no collusion. The only one that believed in no collusion was Barr. The report said, Mueller said that there's nothing that we cannot indict, or it's not us because he's a sitting president. They never said there was no collusion.
Well, I think we're going to have an interesting situation now that we have collusion with this particular president-elect. It looks like Joe Biden he has been bought and sold by the Chinese. So I think that if Trump has been bought and sold by the Russians, we certainly have wonderful evidence of being President-elect Joe Biden being bought and sold by the Chinese.
Well, until
Once
recently.
again, I think that I think it's a great way, I suppose, to work Biden out. And we would have been looking at President Harris. And of course, that would be historic because it would be a woman, a female, and it would be a Black woman. So, and she is very socialist. So I think that then the Democrats would get their wish. Their wish list would be a female, a Black, and a socialist. That
Actually,
would be the gift list.
or an Indian. Actually, I was for I think Senator Harris or Vice President Harris. I liked her. I was for her. I think I voted for her in the primary. But the question is, how come I didn't hear anything about Biden before he ran for president? You did not. Maybe you heard something about.
It was there, my dear.
Yeah, no one ever said anything. Do you think that all the press, aside from Fox, and now Fox is, I listen to both sides, and Fox is swinging over a lot. The one that is outrageous is OAS, One America. And Fox, the news people are now becoming, they're not lambasting the president, but they're saying he has nothing there. There's nothing. It's when they say he has not proven anything, that the election has been fraudulent, that the election has been manipulated. As a matter of fact, the two, the two election companies, they are suing Fox, and Fox has now had to run disclaimers on their show that there's no proof of any fraud.
Well, I am certain that Joe Biden, Mr. Magoo, managed to garner 80 million voters, far more than President Obama. I'm certain of that.
Well, do you think a lot of do you think a lot of the voters not necessarily loved Biden, but didn't like Trump? Because if you notice, in a lot of the states that elected Republican officials, but yet voted for Biden for the president, where there was a split ticket. So that tells me, as a non-official person, that people were splitting their ticket and voting for Biden for president, but they wanted to get rid of Trump, but they wanted the Republicans in.
And how many times and how many millions of votes simply had the name Joe Biden on it and nothing else, no other assembly people or state senators, whatever, simply Joe Biden.
Okay,
I am certain that Joe got 80 million Americans.
Okay, so did you believe
to vote for him.
Do you believe that that there was the court system, the local courts are being run by Republicans, and the officials of the states that that basically are in doubt, who are Republican officials, do you think they are in one mass collusion?
No, but I do think at this point right now.
Do you think the courts who've thrown out all these cases, I think there's over 50 cases, the last that I heard, threw it out, didn't even give it say there's no evidence. And do you think that the Supreme Court, which has 3 justices appointed by Trump, they didn't even take the cases because they said there's nothing there? As a matter of fact, I didn't read the article, but the other day, the New York Post, which is Rupert Murdoch, who is a friend of the president, who's always been pro-Trump, says, let's forget about this and go on. You're ruining our country.
You know what, Malcolm? We will forget about it. And you will see what happens when you have 78, not just 72, but 78 million Americans like me that feel that things weren't quite right. So it will be interesting that finally we will force our Republican lawmakers to go ahead and utilize many of the techniques that we have now seen in full-fledged by the Democrats. And I think that's going to be absolutely delightful because as you got rid of Darth Vader, AKA Trump, you got Mr. Magoo, Joe, who can't even figure out that he's running for the presidency because he was running for the Senate. The guy is a buffoon. He's a monkey.
But where
So funny.
has Trump been for the last 3-4 days in a row? In Florida,
Why, why would he come out at this point right now?
Well,
This is a man, this is a gentleman that did unbelievable things for everybody. But it's fine.
Well, I have a question. What happened to him when they were doing, when Mnuchin was for the last few months was negotiating for the pact, for the law, right? And he was supposedly representing the administration. How come when they passed the COVID, the laws, all of a sudden Trump came in and said, no, that's disgusting. It's the worst thing, both with the defense budget and with the COVID bailout. Why didn't he know?
It didn't really make much difference because Nancy Pelosi very succinctly admitted finally that she wasn't planning on passing anything for anybody. This was as she was having her hair done on a closed down.
No, I'm not talking
as she was showing the freezer filled with her $25 ice cream.
I'm not talking about past history.
Was not going to pass.
I'm not talking about past history. I'm talking about what passed. What they decided on in the last week, which was both sides, the Republicans and the Democrats, decided upon that, and they agreed upon it. And supposedly with the tacit approval of the president, because he was Secretary of the Treasury, was representing the president. The only thing the president knew that is that he missed a putt or that he sliced the ball into the wood.
Whatever.
That I don't understand. I don't understand why supposedly the administration approved of this, and all of a sudden, the last minute, he said,
"That's no. False. It didn't. No, he never approved of it. They gave multitudes of money, asking that more than $600 go out. He had a minimum of $1,200. I was surprised that he came up with $2,000, which I thought was quite generous. But in fact, we ended up giving money to Sudan. We gave,
but that was with his approval.
We gave money, let's see, to Pakistan. I think that Pakistanis, they need to, they're doing a gender identity or
something. Oh, right. I'm not talking about individually. Yeah. I'm saying, why did that bill go through with the approval of the Republican people, the Republican negotiators, when supposedly they were doing it, and the administration was represented by the Secretary of the Treasury. Where was Trump at this time? He didn't know.
What I thought was interesting was the fact that when he did point out that $2,000 should go out to Americans, that in fact it did shine a light as to the amount of pork, the amount of misspending that was put into the bill. And as I say, I don't understand why you have Americans that are dying, that are going bankrupt. You're closing down all of California because that's getting rid of all of your small business. And I don't understand why we're giving money to other countries. It doesn't make any sense. And you're giving $600 to America.
Well, to me, even $2,000. What do you think a family can survive on $2,000?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Anyway, it's going to be. Again, I don't understand the administration's thinking. I don't understand your thinking, to tell you the truth, because as far as he is sort of, I think Trump is calling for a major revolution and a riot with people coming down, especially with the the right wing that are, when they appear armed. Do you have your rifle? Do you have your AK-15, whatever it is?
And the AK-47
or whatever it is. I don't know. I've never shot a gun in my life.
Well, you better get ready.
Right.
You better get ready.
And, right, and I don't even have any hand grenades at home.
No, and the problem is at this point right now, you call it a revolution. It's called civil disobedience, my friend. And
No,
BLM did, and that's what all of
no.
the protesters did with George Floyd. And I was there with them with George Floyd because the whole thing, that was a torture murder.
Yeah,
It was horrible.
civil
But you're going to
disobedience.
see that Trump is going to be calling for civil disobedience. And in fact, there's going to be a lot of people up there, a lot of people.
He's not calling for disobedience. He's calling for a revolution. He's not saying disobedience is one thing. I believe in peaceful protest.
Oh, so do I.
I go back, to, I believe what
But I mean, when you
Martin
have
Luther King
the
did.
head of the Democratic Party basically saying Antifa, I don't understand. That doesn't exist. What do you talking about?
No, how about when you say the head of the FBI, Christopher Wray, said Antifa is not a terrorist organization. He said the organizations that we have to worry about are the white nationalists.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the FBI. Now now I know the whole State Department, the whole Department of Justice, DOJ, the whole FBI, the whole CIA. They're all against Trump because it's all the swamp. Our whole government.
You will get exactly what you want with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. You will get the socialist America that you want and that you have been striving so hard for the last 4 years to get socialism. And then we're on our way now to communism. And you know what? I freaking care less. You know why? Do you know why? Because we have ours. We're safe here. We're safe in South Carolina. And that's one of the reasons that we moved out of California. You are not, on the other hand, safe. And
I'm sorry to say,
to get armed because you are going to be defunding the police as
no one they retract that.
If the police are defunded, you are going to have to protect yourself. And if you're going to protect yourself with what? Books? Baseball bats? What are you going to?
My wife is strong. She'll protect me. But
I can imagine she is.
but no one is saying defunding. Aside from the radicals, they're saying redistribution of the funds, how they're trained.
Okay. So we're going to have social workers go out to break up crimes.
No. The social workers
criminals out. The bank robbers and Antifa will talk them into.
No, don't. They said domestic quarrels.
I see. Well, just social workers going out there and talking to them. Why would you be beating your wife? Why would you be beating your husband?
Because I can. But the thing is, also
stolen from you, and as people are beating people up, then we'll have social workers going out there and
well, tell me, you're a bright one. What does communism have to do with socialism? Communism.
Look at Merriam-Webster's dictionary.
Communism is complete control. Actually, communism isn't. There's never been a true form of communism. You have read Marxist. Have you read the Communist Manifesto?
Mm-hmm.
Communist Manifesto, the end stage of the Communist Manifesto is the withering away of the government and the control of the industry so by people and everybody shares alike. The point is, there's never been a true communism because no one's ever given up that last part, the control of the government.
Well, we'll get a chance to see how we like Chinese communism. I think we'll enjoy it, won't we? I guess you will.
Well, I enjoy Chinese food.
I know, so do I.
So, I mean, could it be that bad? But the thing is, okay, but you'll see the thing. The crime. You bring up the crime issue. How about what he's done with the environmental protection? Done away with that. He's done away with protection of our waterways, giving up the lands that we've always reserved, so miners could go there and dig up the land. The Indians reservations are being destroyed.
Well, once again, as I say, with the Biden-Harris administration, or I should say the Harris-Biden administration, you'll get everything that you want. You will be told that you cannot utilize your land, and thank heavens you're renting, because homeowners and property owners won't be able to utilize the land, and that's fine. But like I say, we're safe here. We're pulling up our gangplank, and we could freaking care less. Because we're
Okay, let's,
mortgage payment that we can make. We have gasoline prices that are a third of what you are paying there. It's marvelous here. And we actually have people of many different nationality and many different religions that enjoy talking to us. And we have a great neighborhood that's here. You'll get an opportunity to be able to see that you will have to apologize for being white. And
that's it. I'm not white.
apology for that.
Well, the white nationalists don't think I'm white. I'm Jewish.
Oh, I see. Well, you'll have to apologize for
being Jewish.
And then the other apology will have to be the fact that you're a man. So you have to apologize for number one, being a man, being Jewish, and being white. So there you go.
Yeah, there are a lot of things. Well, the thing, we'll see. Talk to me in 2-3 years. Well, let's see if Biden can get his policies through. There's only one way he can get it through for the next 2 years. We have to elect 2 Democratic senators from Georgia.
Well, that's already a given, my dear, because we already know that Stacey Abrams has 1.5 million to 2.5 million votes already. She has it in her pocket. She'll be presenting them to the Registrar of Voters Office, and that's what's called ballot harvesting. And once again, the Republicans will start to get smart in about 2 years, and will also start to do ballot harvesting.
Well, they won't be able to because we're going.
People who either are alive or are dead, fictional people that are 12 years
right. But how come all the court?
All of those people can vote.
How come all? That's my. I go back to my basic question. How come none of the courts, none of the major politicians say Trump is right? It was a rigged election. Nobody has said it aside from Trump people and you.
It wasn't a rigged election. He actually got 80 million votes. Right. More than President Obama. Absolutely.
Well, Trump got 72 million, which it surprises me. Deborah, as much as I love you, I cannot understand you. Anyway, our time is up, but I just want to say, what is your resolution? It's going to be the new year on Thursday. Thank God, 2021.
My resolution is to learn from what the Democrats have done and pull up the gangplank and hold on for the next 4 years, because it's going to be a doozy.
Well, yeah, but except we're going to increase the Supreme Court. So anything that you want, the legislation you wanted, the Supreme Court's going to say is illegal.
Oh, no,
unconstitutional.
Once again, you guys have won, and that's fine.
Yeah, but again, so what we might do is imprison you. I mean,
well, I've heard that they will, that they are going to.
Well, Trump definitely, but Trump deserves it, not necessarily.
No, but I'm understanding that there will be re-education camps for Trump supporters. So it'll be interesting to try and corral 78 million Americans. That'll be kind of fun, won't it?
Actually, that's a good idea. I didn't think of that.
I think it's a great idea.
I think we should relocate them. In Greenland. Can't we buy that? Remember what Trump said? I forget what we had to give up to get Greenland.
Well, you got what you wanted, Malcolm. You got your socialism.
And well, again, I only got my socialism. Well, actually, I told you what socialism is, where I threw that thing out where the government doesn't control it, but the government legislates against the big companies. And we had in the turn of the century, or in the 1920s and 30s, when the large companies basically controlled the world. And until the government.
What I'm really looking forward to is that I will be the first one in line. I will get some additional education. I'm going to get my doctorate. I'll become Dr. Manning, which will be fun. And I will be one of the first in line to pick up any of the free stuff. So I'm fine with that. I mean, we 0.3% increase in our Social Security. Whoa.
Did we have, well, last year, I think we had less than 3%. I think we had 1%.
That's not even $15 an hour, for heaven's sakes.
But anyway.
Yes.
So you're going to have a nice, quiet New Year's?
Yeah, actually we will. It's we're expecting a storm in on Thursday. We're expecting about 1 to 2 inches of rain. What's great about North Carolina is it seems like whether it's summer or fall or winter, spring, whatever it is, about every week or so, we get 1 to 2 inches of rain, which really does great things for the garden, and it reduces our water bill dramatically. And it's pretty warm today. It's 62, 63 degrees,
Wow.
right? And
Is that normal? Is that normal for this time of the year in South Carolina?
no, what's interesting is that we had a real cold spurt there, and I think I posted on Facebook. I don't know whether you saw it or not, but we have lots of bird feeders around here. We have like 7 or 8 bird feeders, plus we have bird baths and we have bird fountains for making sure that all the animals, the raccoons and the birds obviously all get water. But we had this much worth of ice over the entire area.
Hmm.
We had to try and wake up our little bird fountain. And as soon as we woke up the bird fountain, I'm not kidding you, we had a dozen birds all around the bird fountain, everybody drinking. It was just like this huge army of birds.
Anyway, my dear, under that note, you have I wish Fish a happy,
I will.
healthy, and safe New Year's.
You too, my dear. The best
And I will see you. Probably did you want to do this again next Tuesday during the election?
Yeah.
You got it, kid.
All right, sweetie pie.
Bye. Send my love to Fish.
I will. Bye-bye now.
Bye.